How you folks doing tonight?
All right.
See if I can make you laugh a little bit. I was just sitting there talking in the miles there from Scotland. Oh, wonderful place, Scotland. My father's from Scotland, and my mother's from Paris. So basically, I'm a lover and a fighter. Speaking of fighting, I've spent half my life being in fights. Never lost one in my entire life until I met the police force. Seems like every time I turn around, I'm getting pulled over for something, whether or another. And I don't have that ability to keep my mouth shut. I always have to, you know, if I'm going to get a ticket, might as well have fun, right? And I swear, I get pulled over for the silliest stuff. I mean, it amazes me. I got pulled over one time. It was 4 o'clock in the morning. And not a soul in sight. Not a soul in sight. And come up to a stop sign, and there's not a soul around that I can see. So I kind of do what you call the California stroll. Cruise through that stop sign. Next thing I know, the lights came on, and I'm being pulled over. Before I know it, biggest cop I ever did see comes out of that car, walks up, raps on my window. Son, you do realize you went through that stop sign back there, don't you? I kind of nodded and said, yes, sir. But I did slow down. Before I knew it, he pulled out that nightstick, started whacking me over the head, and said, son, let me ask you a question. Do you want me to stop, or do you want me to slow down? I didn't have to think twice about that answer. Stopping would be nice about now. So you get my drift. I said, yes, sir, I do. He wrote me the ticket, and I was on my way. A few knuckles bumps on my head, I was okay. But I've never had a good relationship with police officers, and you'd think I would, being the fact that my father was Secret Service and my younger brother's a Texas Ranger. Let me put it this way, it's always an event coming home and for the holidays, the conversation at the table. My brother is so sick and tired of me trying to use his name to get out of tickets. It's insane. So Rick, next time you get pulled over, please do me a favor. Don't use my name, because if they call me, I don't know you. And he's not kidding. He's the first one to tell me I'm going to arrest you if you drive away from the family reunion after having all those beers. And he would. Dad always kind of chuckles about that because he would love to see me in the backseat of my brother's police car. Coming out of, had a friend of mine. This is back in the 80s, and that was back before DWIs were really a big deal. I don't know if you guys are from the 80s. It wasn't a big deal. It was kind of a traffic ticket. They take you home kind of stuff. But a friend of mine had a DeLorean, and we had just gone skiing up there in Colorado. And John's driving, and I swear to God, we get pulled over, and John pulls over on the wrong side of the road. The cop comes up, and in a DeLorean, you can't roll down the window. You got a little slide window there. John asks the famous question, what seems to be the problem, officer? Well, he got hit with a bottle of booze out of his breath. I swear the cop knew right away we were skunked. Well, I guess pulling over on the wrong side of the road didn't help our case much either. So the cop simply asked, do you mind stepping out of the car? John, not thinking much about it, opens the door. The cop didn't know what a DeLorean was like, so next thing you know, we hear this thud! Two heads looking outside the door to a state trooper knocked out cold laying in the snow. Oh shit. Before you know it, we're down the mountain. I swear we sobered up so fast. To this day, we kind of wondered, does this guy pull over every DeLorean he sees, or does he avoid them like the plague? But I have gotten arrested more times than I can count for foolish things. I'm the only one that I've ever known that ever got a DWI stuck in a creek. I kid you not. I was stuck. I'd been stuck for hours. Me and a friend of mine sitting on the tailgate drinking beer, and a police officer comes walking down the dirt path and arrested me for DWI. Now, how is this possible? I still to this day. The judge looks at it and says, let me get this straight. You were stuck in a riverbed. Yes. What are you doing here? I was driving while intoxicated, sitting on the tailgate of my truck. I also got arrested for public intoxication in my backyard. I was barbecuing. Stereo was rather loud. I didn't have a neighbor within miles. Next thing I know, it was like a SWAT team comes jumping over the back fence, throw me down on the ground, slap the cuffs on me, and I'm like, what are you arresting me for? Public intoxication. Oh, the judge loved that one. Let me get this straight, Mr. Martin. You were arrested in your backyard while barbecuing. Yes, ma'am. Now I'm going to line it all up so you can understand why I was arrested so many times for foolishness. I made the mistake, and don't ever do this. I was married and divorced from the daughter of the sheriff. Needless to say, he didn't like me too much. I could drive out the driveway, and I swear there was always a cop waiting for something to pull me over for. I remember getting pulled over on my 10-speed bike while going to the liquor store for driving while intoxicated. I was smart enough not to take the Mercedes. It's amazing the way police are. I mean, if you grew up in the 80s like I did, it was like you could get away with murder. I mean, there wasn't a cop in sight. We used to go car surfing. We did so many outrageous things back then. And today, we were having a conversation earlier. You can't even smoke in the bar now. I mean, whatever happened to the old smoky bars? Well, they're illegal now. I remember sitting in a restaurant in Houston, and we had a few scotches and water, and I'm sitting there with a friend of mine, Rob, and he didn't like any attention of doing wrong things. He was kind of a candy butt. And I'm sitting there after we eat steak and drinking some more scotch. I light up a stogie. Waitress comes over, sir, you can't smoke in this restaurant. I said, yeah, I know. And I kept on smoking. Next thing I know, here comes the general manager. Sir, this is a non-smoking facility. I said, not now it isn't. Never been thrown out of a restaurant until then. They did make sure I paid the bill, though. Well, it's been a pleasure. I'm going to cut it loose and let you hear some more music. Thanks for listening to me. Have a good night, folks, and tip the bartender well.
All right. Woohoo! Yes.
Thank you.